Welcome back. Not one to rest on his past success, Nathan Skoufis trains to be the best. We caught up with him to learn more about his goals and aspirations.
Tell me a little bit, first of all, about your sport of kickboxing.
Yeah, so it's definitely an exciting sport, and specifically what I compete in, it incorporates like aspects of taekwondo, karate, boxing, kickboxing, and I think that's one of the reasons why it's definitely viewer friendly. It's definitely an exciting sport. It's definitely fast paced, and it's definitely something I fell in love with years ago.
You're not sitting back resting on your laurels. You're here today practicing, getting ready for the next competition. What keeps you going?
I think just trying to do as much as you can, because I realize that it's not going to be forever that I'm able to do this at a high level. It'll come to an end at some point. I think just trying to challenge myself, I think, because once you're not motivated to do anything anymore and you kind of think that you've achieved everything that you can, that's where you kind of stop and you're not progressing anymore. For me, I think just trying to add on as much as I can while I'm able to do it, because I'm definitely blessed that my body's held up and I've had a great career up to this point, and I'm just trying to add on as much as I can to it.
So, for example, today you're here practicing, getting ready for the next competition. What kinds of things are you working on? What do you think you need to keep doing to keep you at the top of your game?
I think cardio, anyone who even takes our classes here, like cardio is the biggest thing. I think somebody told me this a long time ago, a black belt without cardio becomes a white belt, because even if you know what you need to do in the match, once you get exhausted and the fatigue sets in, that's where you're going to get injured. That's where you're opening yourself up to the opponent. So I think cardio is a big thing that I focus on. Obviously flexibility. Focusing on the basics, though, I think that's the biggest thing for me. A lot of people want to do all the flashy moves and the spin kicks, which is great. I think the basics, basic kicks like a jab, reverse punch, a side kick are the things that have helped get me to this point. And those are the things that I really try to focus on, trying to use the stuff that I will actually use in the tournament.
And so as we're recording this interview, you're heading off to Quebec, and you're using that as a tune-up for the national championships coming up.
I'm lucky to compete in Canada. There's quite a few big tournaments coming up. Now will be my busy competition season, but Quebec Open was actually the first big NASCA tournament that I went to. It would have been a few years ago. It flew by, but I won the Quebec Open. That's kind of how I got introduced to all my sponsors and all that kind of stuff. And I'll be getting ready for the Canadian Championships, which this year is going to be in the Kitchener-Waterloo area. I've won 4 times in a row, and if I win this year, it will break the record, and I'll have 5 title defenses. So that's definitely something that I'm working for, and to see it now, I visualized it when I was a child 15 years ago. To now see it become a reality is definitely surreal for me, and something I'm working hard, pushing myself for.
So with all the wonderful experiences you've had, what opportunities has that presented to you?
Definitely, I think being able to see a lot of different areas, it's definitely been, for I think my perspective on life, it's definitely altered a little bit. It widens your perspective, I think, the more that you can see and the more that you can experience. Definitely my first Quebec Open, which would have been a few years ago, I met my sponsor, Hayabusa, which also sponsors Georges St-Pierre, so I was able to train with Georges St-Pierre. Quebec is one of the biggest nighttime shows. It draws thousands of people into an NHL-sized arena. So that's definitely exciting for me. But I think moving forward and getting ready for the Canadian Championships, I've been really successful in Canada. I think trying to represent Canada on the international stage, because there will be a lot of international competitors at the Quebec Open. And I think trying to represent our community, but as well internationally in Canada.
Now, ultimately, the Olympics is a goal for so many athletes. Now, your sport isn't there yet, but we're hopeful.
Yeah, so I think it will definitely get in. I have still a little bit longer, though. I think I'll be able to do this at a high level. I try not to put an age of when I'll stop, but I think just as is my focus right now, I think really having the singular focus is something that I still have in martial arts. I think it will definitely get in, just because of how exciting it is, and I think it's a true martial arts, punching, kicking combined. It's in it's advancing pretty quickly, actually, to getting in, so it's something that I definitely see probably 2024, I think it will be into the Olympics, and winning a gold medal is, a lot of, everybody, you tell anyone about the Olympics, it's kind of the premier or the pinnacle of a lot of sports, so being able to do that and add it to my martial arts career would definitely be something I'm aiming for.
Just an update, Nathan ended up going to win the Quebec Open and is setting his sight on defending his Canadian title.